Hi community, welcome to Art History, the female perspective, bringing awareness of the great female artists as a source of knowledge, inspiration, and female empowerment. Brought to you by Inadao, a home on the Web3 for female artists. Inadao is made possible by our mother DAO, Creatives DAO, and the support, sponsorship, and technology of Near Protocol. If you'd like to know more about us and our sponsors, the links are on this video's description. Okay, today we're going to talk about Hung Liu. Hung Liu was a Chinese artist known for her paintings that explored the themes of memory, identity, and the human condition through historical and contemporary lenses. Her work merged past and present, East and West, earning her acclaim in her adopted country and censorship in the one that she left, and she was birthed. Hung Liu was born in Changchun, China, in 1948, growing up under the Maoist regime, and passed away on August 2021 at her home in Oakland, California at the age of 73. She was initially trained in the socialist realist style, and there in China she also studied mural painting as a graduate student at the Central Academy of Fine Art in Beijing, before immigrating to the US in 1984 to attend the University of California in San Diego. She is best known for her paintings based on historical Chinese photographs, and her subjects over the years have been prostitutes, refugees, street performers, soldiers, laborers, and prisoners, among others. As a painter, Liu challenges the documentary authority of historical Chinese photographs by subjecting them to the more reflective process of painting. Much of the meaning of Liu's painting comes from the way she washes and drips dissolved documentary images, suggesting the passage of memory into history, while working to uncover the cultural and personal narratives fixed, but often concealed, in the photographic instant. Washing her subjects in veils of dripping linseed oil, she both preserves and destroys the image. Now we start seeing a little bit of a retrospective of her work in a timeline. So we start when she was very young. Liu was sent to proletarian re-education among the peasants in the countryside when she was young. There she worked in the rice and wheat fields 7 days a week for 4 years. She also photographed and drew portraits of her local farmers and their families. The drawings are kept in notebooks and pads, and the photographs were not printed until 40 years later. At this time, having personal belongings were not well seen, and having photographs from their family was, well, it was a little bit dangerous to have the pictures of the families and the people from your family. So Liu's family burned most of their pictures, so having pictures was something very precious. These are the countryside drawings that I talked before. Drawings that she made from the people that were around her during the time that she worked in the fields, the rice and wheat fields. It was forced labor, and she was there for 4 years. So she used to draw people, but it wasn't something that people knew. She had to do it in secret. In 1979, Liu attended the Central Academy of Fine Arts, majoring in mural painting. Liu traveled to the most famous Buddhist cave murals at Dunhuang in the Gobi Desert along the Silk Road. In 1980, Liu returned to Dunhuang, where she studied and copied the Buddhist cave murals for 40 days. She also visited various famous religious shrines throughout China. In the same year, Liu began to work on Music of the Great Earth. This painting right here, this mural, a graduation mural project designed for the foreign students' dining hall of the Central Academy of Fine Arts, where she studied. She completed Music of the Great Earth and began teaching at the Central Academy in 1981. In 1984, Liu departed for San Francisco and began her graduate students in visual arts departments of the University of California, San Diego. In November 1985, Liu has her first one-person exhibition at the soon-to-be-demolished Shepherd Gallery on the University of Nevada, Reno, where she used the whole space for a mural installation based on the ancient grotto caves of Dunhuang in northeast China along the famous Silk Road. She used the Buddhist iconography of Dunhuang as a way of claiming, for the first time in her life, an entire gallery space, like a modern cave. The exhibition was later destroyed along with the gallery. This work is called Up and Tao. It's a mural that she painted on the whole stairway, and this is her words talking about this work from 1986, answering a few passers-by that were asking what she was doing. She said, "I'm using Confucius' famous discourse on the Great Harmony. In Chinese is Ta Tong, an ideal or perfect society. I'll give you the English translation of his works, these words. I have a dream. Beings have a dream. For generations, they never give up the dream. It's a dream about heaven, paradise, utopia. There has never been an utopia in this world, but the dream of a better world, of a great harmony, is going on and on and on." On this part, she was describing to another person that were passing by about the symbolism that she used and what it meant. "I put my sheep shrine here, between the two floors. You can see it immediately, from either the top or bottom of the stairwell, from both doors. The stairwell is a symbol for life. People enter from several points, some going up, others down. But in Chinese philosophy and art, ascending and descending do not mean heaven and hell. They are parts of an infinite cycle, the transformation of potential and energy. There are always crises in the world. We are beset with them. But we never give up trying to find our way. We keep using, penetrating, transferring, and losing time and space. In other words, we keep trying to communicate. Communication rises above time, past, present, future, and space, sky, earth, ocean. My images are symbols for discourse. You can read them as you go up and down the stairwell." In 1987, Liu begins a series of small pencils on canvas drawings that depict Mao Zedong meeting various world dignitaries such as Nixon, Khrushchev, and Chiang Kai-shek. In each case, she does not fill in or erases the features of Mao's face, leaving it blank with only an outline of his profile. A year later, she completes the whole installation called Where is Mao? An installation of 1,000 felt cutouts of Mao's profile, each with a fortune cookie on top, at the Southwestern College Art Gallery in Chula Vista, California. In 1988, Liu was a resident artist at the Capp Street Project in San Francisco. While there, she created a body of paintings concerned with the history of Chinese immigration to California, beginning with the gold rush in 1949 and continuing through her own resident alien status at the time. The following exhibition of these works brought Liu her first significant art world attention and established her as an artist whose subject was the fluid politics of identity, especially that related to immigration. The Resident Alien installation, the culmination of her research into the history of Chinese immigration to California. It is a breakout moment in her career. This was Liu's first self-portrait, in which she painted an enlarged version of her own green card with several point changes, like for instance her birth date of 1948 becoming 1984, the date of her immigration, 1984 was the date she immigrated, and her name comically replaced by the words fortune cookie. She also said, "Oh God, I'm an alien." Liu remembers thinking, "It's ironic. I'm a resident, I'm legal, yet I'm still alien." In 1992, based on the photographs she discovered in Beijing in 1991, Liu began a body of work in which 19th and early 20th century Chinese prostitutes are associated with masterworks of Western art, including Mona Lisa, Olympia, Odalisque, and Wrath of the Medusa, among others. She also intensifies the theatricality of her paintings by shaping the canvases, displaying kitsch and antique objects on lacquered shelves, and attaching fragments of traditional Chinese architecture. In 1993, she traveled again to China in search of more archival photographs. Liu, her husband, and her son returned with her mother, Liu Zhongguang, to the family's small ancestral village near Shenyang, in northern China, where they participate in a grave-sweeping ceremony, honoring her grandparents, whose graves are earthen mounds in a cornfield. Liu paints a large self-portrait in the cornfield called Burial at Little Golden Village. Drips begin to appear as an erosive force in Liu's painting, as we can see on this painting. During this period, the physical shapes of Liu's canvases correspond to the outlines of her subjects, so that the idea of ground is illuminated in favor of figure. Using historical photographs from 1930s China, she paints a series of modern Chinese women, posing as athletes, students, dancers, and matrons of bourgeois means. Here we also have the famous drippings that she started making. This is the style that she's was well known by. Among other things, Liu also made installations, murals, paintings, and this is one of her installations. This work is called Jinjingshan, Old Gold Mountain. It's from 1994 and was originally commissioned by the Memorial Museum. In this work, the M.H. De Young Memorial Museum. In this work, Liu created a gold mountain made of 200,000 fortune cookies. Wow! Engulfing a crossroads of railroad tracks. The junction of the tracks references the cultural intersection of East and West, as well as the Chinese immigrants who perished during the building of Sierra Nevada, stage of the Transcontinental Railroad. Jinjingshan, Old Gold Mountain, was also installed at the Mills College Art Museum in 2013 as a part of the exhibition Hung Liu offerings. The theme of women at work emerges in Liu's paintings. Chinese women, young and old, are depicted in stooped labor and domestic tasks. In Mu Nu, this painting, here the bigger paint, a mother and daughter walk over rocks in a stream, pulling a boat by a rope tied to their waists. Liu signified their unromanticized labor through drips of gray pigment that covered their bodies and poured their faces, suggesting sweat, tears, dirt, and pain. In her words about her whole body of work, I want to be a comfort to people I've never known and others like them who lost their dignity because of political or economical reasons. People want to connect and be heard. I'm lucky to be an artist because I can speak for other people as well as for myself. On this other painting, you can see a woman on the loom. This one is called Postage. It's based largely on a 19th century photograph postcard of a massive stone statue of an imperial warrior standing guard over the famous Ming tombs near Beijing. The painting serves as a kind of postmodern postcard for layers of images, stamps, and inscriptions that seem to drift in from different eras of Chinese history and stake their claims to the common ground the painting represents. The stone warrior anchors the picture. A peasant, photographed while smoking, sits patiently in the lower right-hand corner. From the left, the philosopher Lao Tzu enters the scene riding an ox, his preferred mode of transport, as if in from the ancient past. At the upper right, a large reddish imperial postage stamp marks the surface as if the large painting were a small postcard. Meanwhile, the artist's well-known painted circles, like effervescent through hot bubbles, mark the painting's surface as her own personal stamps. All the images in Postage are waiting at the intersection of history, like messages gathered in a post office for delivery to each other. Past and future. In the early 90s, Hung Liu discovered a collection of photographs that prompted her to investigate the history of comfort women. Through her research, she learned about some of the Korean women who had been forced to work as sex slaves from the Japanese Imperial Army. The source photograph for this painting was taken by the Japanese Army. This painting was made in 2001 and is called Strange Fruit, the Comfort Woman. Strange Fruit, New Paintings by Hung Liu, was a traveling exhibition of 25 paintings and was organized by the Arizona State University Art Museum and the Boys Art Museum. Its depictions of Korean comfort women, famine victims, and prisoners of war. Inspired by Strange Fruit, the blues song about Southern lynchings that was made famous by Billie Holiday in 1939 suggests a bitter ripening of subject matter. In 2015, Hung Liu discovered the work of Depression-era photographer Dorothea Lange and became deeply influenced by her subjects of indigent and dispossessed Americans. The landscape of struggle is familiar terrain, reminding me of the epic revolution and displacement in Mao's China. Only now, I'm painting American peasants looking for the Promised Land. That's the name of the series of paintings called Promised Land. In her paintings, Liu, who is known for a fluid style in which drips and washes of linseed oil dissolve the photo-based images in the same way that time erodes memory, seems to have developed a kind of topographic realism in which the paint congeals around a webbing of color lines together enmeshed in a rich surface that belies the poverty of her subjects. Belies. This approach first emerged from an accident in which Liu ran out of charcoal and to finish the drawing resorted to colored chalk, so she began experimenting with color lines, soon in oil paint. In short, looking hard at Lange's photographs had changed Liu's painting, allowing her empathic sense of touch and her deeply intuitive knowledge of color as a liberating force to make contact with the stories underlying their surfaces. Stories which, whether Chinese or American, continue emerging like hope for all who still seek a place in history. This work is called Rat Year to 2020. 1. Counting Down. Liu initiated the series in 2008, seeking to portray herself during her rat years, which began when she was born in 1948 and returned at 12 years increments in the Chinese zodiac calendar. As Liu explained, big things happen during your year, and 2020 was no exception. This one is called Rat Year 2020, number 2, The Last Dandelion. In this, her final self-portrait before her death in August 2021, Hung Liu depicted herself wearing a mask, a common face covering in the age of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the adjacent rusty bronze panel shows a dandelion plucked down to its final seed, or papas. Countless other papae have drifted away in the winds of life. Thus, the phrase "last dandelion" suggests an underlying awareness of the end. Still, to look at those bright and living eyes like orbs in a deep, endless night is to remember that Hung Liu lived her dramatic, epic life as a painter, which remains alive and whose last dandelion will never drift away. Oh, thank you for following with me until here. I hope you have enjoyed knowing more about great artist Hung Liu. I fell in love with her paintings. They are very inspiring. And well, we are in Adao, and if you like what you see from our content, please follow us on our socials. And if you'd like to become a member and follow us with our projects and build a project with us, if you are a DJ, there are bounties open all the time when we make exhibitions. And we also have several artists being supported by us. And if you'd like to know more, just follow us on our socials and send us a DM if you are interested and need help to set up your wallet and know more about the crypto world. We are here to support every female artist that we can. See you next time. Bye!